Hallo Leute, ich bin Erik, ich komme aus Taiwan und ihr seht Deutsch für euch.
Today's prefix is ÜBER. And as I said in my first episode, yes, it's ÜBER, not ÜBER. Now, if you are aware of how the alphabet is sorted, then you will have noticed by now that ÜBER probably should have come before That's correct. I had some sort of a script slip up, so we're doing them in the wrong order. That's it. Now, I'm sure that most of you have somehow encountered the word ÜBER before, even if for some reason you are watching this video before watching any of the basics, which if you're doing that, just to let you know you're doing it wrong, but I admire your unconventional spirit. All jokes aside, that might make you wonder what makes this preposition, or in our case prefix, so special and amazing that Americans love it so much. To be honest, that's the part I haven't really been able to figure out myself. Now in German, ÜBER is a pretty unexciting word, just by merit of the fact that it's pretty common. It means over when it's directional, or above when it's referring to a place. And of course also, as with most prepositions, it can also be used metaphorically, like in English. And that is exactly what happens when it's used as a prefix, and that's also pretty much on par for the way that over is used in English, I'd say. So from a basic understanding, kind of the superficial or general point of view, ÜBER as a prefix works pretty similar to the way that over works in English. Now, of course, that's not true for every word that it's combined with, and as always, we have verbs that combine with ÜBER, whose translations won't combine with over in English, and some translations can be false friends, but overall, over, ÜBER, that's the meaning. So from that, you will get a pretty good understanding of what this prefix means, so it shouldn't be one of the harder ones, is basically what I'm saying. Also, what I noticed, even though this is an ambivalent prefix, with this one there don't seem to be that many that can go both ways, so that depending on where you put the emphasis can be either separable or inseparable, so that might be nice as well. To be exact, there's only one of those on my list. Speaking of which, let's go. Jemandem etwas übergeben. To hand something over to somebody, or to turn something over to somebody. Hat mir feierlich die Schlüssel übergeben. Sich übergeben means to vomit, and is one of the less colloquial ways of expressing that. Sich übergeben is pretty neutral. Etwas oder jemanden übergehen. To omit something, to pass over or to skip over somebody. So for example, when you're playing a board game and you skip somebody's turn, you would übergehen them. But also, I could say, ich fühle mich übergangen, to say that I feel left out, or I feel ignored, or I feel like I'm not part of some sort of social process. And then also you can übergehen things, specifically utterances. For example, I could say, ja, diese Bemerkung übergehen wir einfach, in the sense of, we'll just ignore that remark. Jemandem etwas überlassen. First of all, this means, in the sense of inheritance, to leave somebody something, but it also means to yield or to cede, to let somebody have something. So it implies a sort of giving something up to somebody. Doesn't have to be negative, though. You could watch two children playing and maybe you see one of them give their toy to the other and say, sie überlässt ihm ihr Lieblingsspielzeug, wie süß. She's giving her favorite toy to him, how cute. Etwas überstehen, to overcome something, to last through something, to pull through something, or to weather something. So überstehen is something that both a person or a thing can do. So let's say your house weathers a storm, it überstehen den Sturm. Jemanden überkommen, to overcome somebody in the sense of you're overcome by something. So wurde von einem starken Gefühl überkommen means he was overcome by a strong feeling. Now, this is one of the false friend cases because überkommen does not mean overcome in the sense of persist, so the thing that überstehen expresses. Überlegen, to reflect, to ponder. Sich etwas überlegen, to consider something, to really think through something, to contemplate something. Das muss ich mir gut überlegen. I'll really have to think about this, I'll really have to think this through. Now, the word überlegen also exists as an adjective/adverb, but there, just be careful with that, it's derived from the verb überliegen, which means to dominate, to come out on top. So überlegen sein means to conquer in a sense, but also to be superior, to outmatch somebody. Etwas übersehen or jemanden übersehen, to overlook something or somebody. Not to oversee, so it doesn't have that surveilling factor that oversee has in English. It's just to overlook. Etwas übersehen, I didn't notice it. Überhören is the same thing for audible things. So etwas überhören means you missed something audible. So, I don't know, somebody calls your name and you überhören it means you didn't hear it, you didn't catch it. It does not mean to overhear something. Überhören always means you missed something that is audible. Etwas übernehmen, to adopt something, which is usually something in the form of plans or suggestions or habits, traditions. So, metaphorical. Sie haben meinen Vorschlag übernommen. They adopted my suggestion. But also, etwas übernehmen, in a more literal sense, means to take something over, to take something on. Wer hilft mir beim Aufbau? Ich übernehme das. Who's gonna help me set up for this? I got it. Etwas überbringen or jemandem etwas überbringen is to deliver something to somebody, to carry something and then give it to somebody. Jemanden überfallen, to ambush somebody, to rob or mug somebody. Ich wurde überfallen, I was mugged. Etwas überladen means to overcharge, to overload, or to overburden something, so to put too much on something. This can also be used in a metaphorical / technological sense. You may have heard the word Überladung, or if you play Team Fortress 2, übercharge before, which means an overcharge, die Überladung. However, überladen, in the sense of die Überladung, can also mean an over-ornateness. So if you design something and somebody says it's überladen, it means they think it's too much. It's just too much. And then I also wanted to add the verb überwerfen because it does not mean to overthrow. It means to throw something on, usually with the implication that you're already wearing other clothes. You're just throwing something over to be less cold or to avoid rain. So it's not to overthrow, it's to throw something on. And then finally, we have the one example of a verb that can be both separable and inseparable, depending on the emphasis. That is übersetzen and übersetzen. Übersetzen means to translate. Übersetzen. So, ich übersetze den Satz. I translate the sentence. Übersetzen, so separable, means to cross a body of water. So to go from one embankment to the other. For example, you could say, die Fähre setzt gleich über. The ferry is about to cross the river. And with that, that's it for today. As always, I want to remind you that if you want to support DFE financially, you can do so by going to my Patreon, which is linked in the description, and that will, among other things, list you among these lovely people. Thank you to each and every one of you who helped me keep this project alive. You will also be able to get access to grammar scripts, including these prefix lists. I add more examples and more verbs in there, so you might think that's worth your time and money. Other little goodies and bigger goodies and what have you. Also, sometimes I post polls and questions to involve you in the process of making episodes. So go check that out. Thank you very much if you're considering that. And with it, I think I'll give you a random word of the week. Yes. So, your random word of the week is das Ohrloch. Because you see, I have 2 pairs of those now. Because I'm so punk. Yeah, das Ohrloch. So das Ohrloch doesn't refer to this. It refers to a puncture in your lobe. Das Ohrloch. As opposed to das Nasenloch, which refers to your actual natural hole in your nose. Also, please excuse the hatlessness today. I did indeed not forget about it. It's just that it's very hot today. It's more than 30 degrees, so tut mir leid. I hope you can forgive me. With that, I'll see you next time. Bis dann. Tschüss.